It's hard to trace the exact beginning of corporate sponsorships in golf. But one thing is sure, golf would be nowhere near the leading sport it is today without funding from its associated companies. Every year, Rolex, FedEx, BMW, and several other big businesses shell out millions of dollars for player, tournament, and tour endorsements. Yet the true workings of these deals remain a mystery to many, until they watch this video. Before brand endorsements became a thing in golf, golf pros earned little more than a pittance for their work. That's why Jack Nicklaus's 18 majors and 55 tour wins only fetched him $5.7 million in career earnings. Today, golfers with winless careers make more money than the Golden Bear and his peers. And that's all thanks to these brands willing to pay hefty prices to get their products in front of golf crowds. So, what changed between then and now? According to Dean Beman, the PGA Tour commissioner from 1974 to 1994, the tour and its broadcasters were basically living at a subsistence level at the time. The time was the mid-70s, and back then the PGA Tour was hardly profitable for any of its stakeholders. So Beman and his team were forced to brainstorm golf out of being broke. Eventually, they got golf out of its financial cage by unlocking an opportunity that was begging to be taken. NBC and CBS were the two golf broadcasters at the time, and with so many tournaments yearly, golf was getting a ton of TV time, which turned out to be its unexplored goldmine. All Beman had to do to turn golf's fortune around was to give companies publicity in exchange for their money. So instead of the PGA Tour paying its players next to nothing and sharing crumbs among its broadcasters, Beman opened the tour to sponsors. Interested companies could partner with the tour in two ways, either as tournament sponsors or marketing partners. All they had to do was supply the funds, and the course, or at least some part of it, was theirs. This symbiotic business model has since stood the test of time, and after Beman left in '94, his successors have improved the model to create the billionaire organization that is the modern PGA Tour. To show the tour's popularity with sponsors in 2023, the PGA Tour counted an unprecedented 52 companies on its sponsors roster. And with the continued growth of golf, that number is bound to only get higher. Although the PGA Tour operates as a non-profit, when companies give it or any of its players money, they don't do it out of the goodness of their hearts. There's a catch, and it's the attention of their potential customers, aka the teeming golf fans around the globe, aka you. In the modern capitalist system, the place of marketing can't be overstated. As a result, these companies are very much like the players they sponsor. They know they have to be out there to give themselves a fighting chance against the competition. Another thing they know is that the average golf fan's consumer psychology is super simple. Unlike an ultra-popular sport like soccer, golf is more of a niche sport. You have to really love it to follow it, and this religious fandom is what businesses bank on. They know how the loyalty of golf fans can translate to sales for them if they attack the market from the right angle. For example, in 2020, after the pandemic shut down most economic activities, several advertisement channels were blocked. However, the PGA Tour was one of the few shops that found a way to stay open. Marshall Rabiel was a third-generation owner of the Hubbard Peanut Company, which made Hub's salted peanuts in Virginia. And in the August of that grim year, he turned to golf for brand promotion. Precisely, he turned to PGA Tour pro Mark Hubbard. Immediately, Rabiel saw Mark's name on a PGA Tour leaderboard. He knew he had to sign him on a one-year deal. Also, Mark's nickname Hubs with an extra B made him the perfect partner for the peanut producer. In a largely uneventful year, Rabiel invested all of his event marketing budget on that endorsement deal. In return, Mark wore the company's logo on his left sleeve and passed peanuts around at tour events. He even went as far as sharing the snacks with his colleagues in the locker room. For most luxury brands and high-end businesses like Hubs, golf tournaments are some of the best places to sell their stuff. The average golf fan just wants to watch golf, but many of them can also afford a 20-ounce can of salted peanuts for $30. Golf clubs are usually second homes to corporate lawyers, bankers, tech bosses, and big-time entrepreneurs. You know, the kind of people who buy Rolexes and BMWs. And when they check out, they would need insurance for their pricey purchases. This is how the insurer sponsoring their favorite golfer gets his return on investment. Even small businesses know it's smart marketing to slap their names on a golf tournament or a golfer. Keyed In was a startup software company when it joined forces with golf pro Scott Piercy in 2012. At the time, Piercy was ranked 170 in the world, but the company knew if he climbed up the rankings, they would also smile to the bank. That year, Piercy played well and won the RBC Canadian Open, and by the end of that season, he was ranked 41st in the world. This meant more media coverage for Piercy and, by extension, more brand exposure for his sponsors. Besides that, Piercy was also directly involved in selling the company to potential clients and investors on the course. And due to his salesmanship, Keyed In was receiving at least 1 or 2 prospect inquiries after every golf tournament. So, for these sponsors, investing in golf is less of a shotgun blast and more of a sniper shot. Golf helps them reach their exact targets, and that's why the number of logos on golf courses keeps increasing. As ambassadors and salespeople, golfers have several obligations to their sponsors. One of them is participating in Pro-Am events. As a perk, companies give their customers a chance to play with an elite player or learn from them at company-sponsored clinics. And it's these kinds of one-on-one interactions that make golf sponsorships unique. Another interesting thing about it is that it's tiered. Most companies can't afford to sponsor Scottie Scheffler, but they can have their pick down on the Korn Ferry Tour, the Asian Tour, or the Australian Tour. It all depends on the company's goals and budget. And because golf is so unpredictable, sponsors never know when their athlete might have that unusual victory on the PGA or LPGA Tour. When this happens, companies experience an instant boost in sales and engagement, which usually earns the sponsored golfer some tasty bonuses. This all sounds nice until you hear how complicated these contracts can be. Golf sponsorship deals involve endorsements through equipment, name, image, and likeness, advertisement, or golfing apparel. And they all come with their own conditions. Golf equipment companies, for instance, usually stipulate what they want from their players. While TaylorMade would demand their players play their clubs, Ping might simply mandate the use of its driver. Titleist focuses on its balls, the same as Bridgestone, but Callaway might force you to play its irons. Sometimes these deals don't work out because some players play better with equipment from other brands. So it's easy to see how accepting a restrictive equipment deal might mess up their game. When 2-time Masters champion Bubba Watson signed a ball deal with Volvic in 2016, he hoped to promote the company while improving his game. But just over a year later, Bubba opted out of the deal. Or, as he told reporters at the 2017 Shriners Hospital for Children Open, "My contract is done with Volvic. I do not have a ball deal as we sit here today, so I can play with whatever ball I want to. My deal was up, and so I'm ball-free." He sounded like a man freed from undeserved incarceration, and he kind of was that guy. 2017 ended up being one of his worst seasons on tour, and whether the ball was the reason for his slump or not, he couldn't change it to his preferred Titleist Pro V1X. He was effectively selling a product that wasn't working for him. And that's the story of many endorsements. Once you take the money, you must do the time, even if this means saying things you don't believe in. But hey, business is business, as they say. The best name, image, and likeness, or NIL deals, go to top players with huge followings. However, these deals are mostly beneficial for high school and college kids needing the financial support to pursue golf as a career. Many young golfers have signed NIL deals, including John Daly's son, John Daly II, who, along with his dad, signed an NIL with the risque restaurant chain Hooters in 2022. Using golfers as physical advertisers is the most ingenious sponsorship in golf. The sight of golfers as human billboards is so normal today. But in the past, golfers wore plain clothes to play golf. So they didn't have to worry about lining up their shots to give their sponsors maximum visibility. But they also made no money from their TV appearances. Nowadays, every side of a golfer's cap, their sleeves, chest pockets, and the back of their collars, their bags, and even their shoes are huge money magnets. Even the lowest-ranked players on the PGA Tour can get a good 6-figure deal for that valuable real estate at the front of his cap. The only obstacle that might stop this income stream is the apparel sponsor. Players have to agree with their apparel sponsors on how much space on their shirts and caps they can cover with logos. This is why Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy have played with plain, trademarked Nike hats and shirts for years. But since they've both enjoyed the most lucrative sponsorships in all of golf, that makes perfect sense. Tiger's 27-year-long relationship with Nike ended in 2024. But before the two giants parted, Tiger had collected over $500 million from the longest player sponsorship in golf history. Rory McIlroy has also signed multiple deals with Nike, before and after it abandoned the golf equipment business. When his latest contract ends in 2027, he will have made over $250 million from his Nike deals. The company's exit from the equipment game in 2017 also freed him to land a $100 million equipment deal with TaylorMade, which he extended in 2022. If you enjoyed this video about golf sponsorships, check out the video on the screen now, or the one we've posted below. We're sure you'll like that one too. Let us know in the comments if there's another golf story you'd like us to cover. See you there!